Hello. I'm speaking about estimating the population size of people who inject drugs during the HIV outbreak and the high mortality period in Thessaloniki. Let me provide some information about Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki is the second largest city in Greece with about 1 million inhabitants. During the COVID-19 pandemic, an HIV outbreak occurred among people who inject drugs, and the HIV incidence was 7 new infections per 100 person years. Additionally, high mortality rate among people who inject drugs was observed, and 4.5 deaths per 100 person years was observed in the period 2019 up to 2022. However, there is no currently estimate of the population size, so our aim was to estimate the size of this population in Thessaloniki during the period 2019 up to 2021. The basic idea of capture-recapture method is to sample and identify individuals from a population and then resample the population to see what fraction of individuals in the second sample were identified in the first sample. This method requires 2 or more incomplete lists known as sources, and in case of where 2 or more sources are available, log linear models are used. In our study, we used log linear models, and the model selection was based on archaic information criteria. In 2019, in Thessaloniki, a sick test treat community-based program, Alexandros, was implemented. Response-driven sampling was used to recruit participants over 5 consecutive rounds. These are the rounds in time-specific period, along with the exact number of participants. And it is worth noting that individuals could participate in multiple rounds, but only once in each round. Therefore, 35% of participants were recruited in multiple rounds. Okay, I skip this. This is the participants' profile. And if we want to see the overlap of participants across rounds, we have this diagram then, and we can see that 363 individuals participated only in 1 round and 15 in all 5 rounds. During the period 19 to 21, the number of people who injected drugs in the past 12 months was estimated at 1,525, while the number of people who injected drugs in the past month was estimated at 823. Based on the total number of syringes distributed in 2020, the coverage of NSP is 8 syringes per person who had injected in the past 12 months, or 15 syringes per person who had injected in the past 30 days. The corresponding coverage for 2021 was 38 and 51 respectively. Okay, now based on HIV prevalence and HIV prevalence, we can see the number of HIV cases and the number of chronic hepatitis C. In conclusion, the Alexandros program successfully reached 1,101 unique people who inject drugs across 5 rounds, despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Needle and syringe programs coverage remain suboptimal for the years 2021, 2020 and 2021, so requires further upscaling based on the estimate of the population size. These data are needed for efficient program planning and for monitoring key targets, particularly given the recent HIV outbreak and high mortality rates in this population. Beyond the scope of expanded testing and treatment for infectious diseases, community-based programs employing multiple RDS rounds to reach the target population can deliver additional benefits, such as estimates for the population size of people who inject drugs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions? So I have a quick question. So you had those 5 rounds, and were they completely independent one from the other? And how do you think you could have missed some populations that wouldn't be represented in those 5 rounds?
Yes, and we used the log linear models in order to estimate the number of people who inject drugs who didn't came in the program at its one round.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, am I allowed a question? Sorry.
Yes, go.
That's great work. Could you, if I missed it, what was the prevalence in terms of the proportion in the population? And did you look at other evidence to sort of test its consistency? So is it sort of consistent with the number of drug-related deaths you see in Thessalonica, the number of HIV diagnoses, and other markers of drug-related harm?
Good question, but I'm not sure if I understand the question. So if you don't have a problem, we can discuss.
Okay. But how big is Thessalonica? Because you've got 1,000. What does that mean in terms of the... It's 1 million. Okay, so it's 1.5%. Okay. And that, and HIV diagnoses and deaths, that's consistent with your numbers? Anyway, we'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe after. Thank you.
Thanks.